meeting to order at 3:40 p.m. on Wednesday.
As early as the 1950s, Santa Barbara has recognized the need to give the youth of the community a voice and listen to what they have to say about significant issues facing our city. However, it wasn't until 1994 that an official group called the United Youth Empowered was formed, evolving 3 years later into the Santa Barbara Youth Council.
The Santa Barbara Youth Council is an advisory board to the mayor and city council, as well as to the Parks and Rec Commission and any other adult boards and commission. Like other advisory boards for the city, they look at issues that mostly surround youth, maybe teens, but also elementary kids as well, and they offer recommendations and suggestions on issues that concern youth in the city.
The Youth Council is made up of 15 members from various schools, all appointed by the mayor and city council.
It includes 9 members from the public high schools, 3 from each high school, Dos Pueblos, San Marcos, and Santa Barbara High. It includes 2 members from private school. It includes 2 members from an alternative school, like perhaps a continuation school. And then it includes 1 at-large member.
To become involved with the council, students must submit an initial application followed by an interview in front of the Youth Council and again in front of the mayor and city council. Over the years, the process has become highly competitive and attracts a variety of students.
The type of students that apply will vary. You have a lot of students that are already well established as leaders. They may be involved in their associate student body, or they may be part of a leadership group of another nonprofit in the community. Most of them have already really have an interest in community service, way beyond the amount that they have to turn in. Some of them have already put in hundreds of hours of community service. Then you have some students who perhaps heard about it from someone else and they've not been involved in leadership, but they're looking to get involved in leadership and to find out more information about being a leader and becoming a good public speaker. So it varies, and which is good because you get a variety of students with a lot of different opinions, and it helps to make the group better.
I'm a really shy person by nature, so I learned how to communicate better, how to work as a team, how to be more committed to something that you have already signed up for. So that was the biggest things that I learned myself for my own personal growth.
But personal growth isn't the only thing students gain from being involved with the Youth Council.
And one of the things that they really get to learn is to get involved in issues in a way that maybe they weren't thinking they would get involved. They maybe perhaps, for example, when we had the issue with the pedestrian and the street lights on Milpas, the Youth Council got involved in giving recommendation to the City Council on what they thought about street lights. And so they got an education in street lights. When they were trying to create the teen center, they had to go before the sign committee so they get to learn about what it takes to get a sign put up in the city. So they become really well-rounded in city government.
Being on the Youth Council is a very strong extracurricular, I guess you could say. And then through the Youth Council, I was able to apply to be a representative for the Youth Education and Families Board for the National League of Cities. So that also, I think, provided like a strong foundation for my extracurriculars, I guess you could say. And then through the Youth Council, I had a lot of experiences where I was able to write a lot of essays about it, and I know that strengthened my application.
I've gained a lot of experience with public speaking. That's a huge thing. And then also just that kids my age can actually make a difference. And a lot of times we think that, we're powerless until we're adults, but Youth Council has really shown me that we can make a difference at our age. And it's not hard. You just need to, get involved in something important and, go full throttle with it, and you can make a difference.
And since the board has been in existence, students have been making a difference.
A few years ago, it was before I was chair, someone was hit by a car and killed on Milpas. The city wanted to put in traffic lights or some form of traffic control in that area, and so they went to all the advisory boards, the Youth Council being one. We debated over that for hours and hours. I think that's the longest meeting I was ever at. And then we ended up recommending to the city what they actually put in. So I remember being excited about that and thinking that was a really interesting process.
The Youth Council, during the last years that I've been here and just before, they've accomplished a lot, starting with they were very much involved in the creation of Skaters Point. And so that was like in 2001 that it opened. Then they were very much involved in the opening of the 1235 Teen Center, from the first request to the City Council to the grand opening, which was in 2007. They also were involved in the creation of a social host ordinance that is now on the books and will permanently be on the City Council's books. They also are very accomplished in doing youth speak outs, which they do every year, which gives youth an opportunity to speak up on issues that are most concerning to them.
Some of my friends were being bullied by other students because of their sexuality, so I coordinated with our school's counselors and advisors and reinstituted a Gay Straight Alliance.
Since youth make up nearly 20% of our community, it's important that they weigh in on issues, especially ones that pertain directly to them. And while the Santa Barbara Youth Council serves to represent the teens and adolescents in our community, they are also proactive about engaging other youth to become more involved.
We do a lot of reach out to the community. We put on events and we get teens involved and we make sure the youth's voice is heard. And I think that's a really big deal in our community. It's a really big deal anywhere, to be honest, just to make sure the City Council and everyone knows what the youth is thinking about a certain topic and how we react to, whether it be e-cigarettes or bullying or teen rights. It could honestly be anything. But the youth are the future, so it's important that we have a say and that our voice is heard.
If students learn early on that their opinion matters and that they can make a difference in the place they live, the community will only benefit.
Your community is where you live and who you interact with and what goes on. And so to have the best community is someone who wants to change it for the better. And so I think if you're involved in your community, you can really tailor it to be a place that you love and you want to be. And a community will only thrive if everyone is working together and everyone is trying to make it a better place.
So I think when you volunteer in your community, you learn about more people, diversity, and in my opinion, diversity is one of the most important things that you have to learn about your community, because that way you can know who you are, where you are, what your community is, and how you can navigate through that in a proper manner. Socrates, know thyself, that's the most important thing, so know thy community too.
The youth of Santa Barbara have so much to contribute to this community. We have untapped energy, ideas,